Welcome to River City Plus. We have a very, very special guest in the house today. I'd like to introduce you to Ken Shamrock, the most dangerous man in the world, right here on River City Plus.
Well, thank you very much. That was probably true about 20 years ago. Now I think I'm just Ken Shamrock.
Well, so you're Ken Shamrock. Today we had you in the studio holding kittens, talking to everybody. I mean, you know, people couldn't have been more excited to meet you. So let's talk about how you've gone from the most dangerous man into world to the most dangerous businessman, because that's really where you've directed a lot of your attention now. But, you know, where did all of this start in a ring long ago for you?
Yeah, I would have to say it started in Japan. I had an opportunity to go over there, and they had this, what they called hybrid pro wrestling. Mm-hmm. And I remember watching the tapes, and it was two guys kicking, punching, and then shooting wrestling, grabbing, going to the ground, and they were doing all these submissions. And I was looking at it going, because this was back in 88, 89, like nobody ever saw that before. Right. Like everybody knows what it is now with UFC and all that. But back then, no one ever saw it. And I looked at it, and I told him, I said, I want to do that. And he goes, dude, those guys are really going.
He's like, no, you don't.
Yeah, he goes, I don't know if you, I said, no, seriously, I want to do it. So I went over to Japan. I remember trying out, and, you know, a couple years later, I'm standing there with the championship belt. So it was a good choice for me because I grew up fighting. I was in group homes and on the street, didn't have much of an upbringing. The only way I could survive was to fight. And so for me to go and do that was like, hey, you're literally going to pay me to do something I was getting arrested for. So count me in.
Yeah, I mean, that's really like kind of a cool full circle moment. Now, I do have to ask you, because you've been in every kind of combat sport, but at that time when you were actively competing, what is it inside of you that's okay to wake up and just know you can just get your butt handed to you every day? It's hard for me to wake up sometimes, like, you know, knowing what I have to do, and you've seen my job. It's pretty great. You're waking up going, I'm going to get punched in the face today, but I also get to punch somebody in the face today. Like that's a special kind of tenacity that you've got.
Yeah, but
everyone's laughing at me, but I'm like, it is what it is. We all want to know.
Yeah, but I think from my position is that the thought of me getting my butt kicked never comes up.
I like it.
Whenever I step in there and I go through my training and I prepare myself and I walk in there, I'm the one doing the butt kicking. I'm the one that's going to win, and nothing else in my mind counts. And if kind of like I explained my story a little bit of being on the street, walking into a bout circle, which is what we use, or a ring or a cage, that's safe. Mm-hmm. You know, when I was fighting and doing all this other stuff, you get stabbed, shot, jumped, you know, beat up with a baseball. I mean, all these other things. But walking into this and competing against one individual and knowing what my skills are and training for what I was training for, there was no way I was going to lose.
So, Ken, tell me, if you're comfortable sharing with me, going from that street survival mentality, you really were able to channel that into something truly special and elite in sports. Does that make you really want to champion sports in younger kids, because that was a good transition for you to get you off the streets and into who you are today?
Yeah, I think it was important in my growth as a professional athlete. First, I was a fighter coming out of the street, amateur, trying to figure it all out. But there's this thing that has to happen to become a professional. And when you go in there, you have to think about, you know, going in and winning those fights, but you got to put that training in, right? Mm-hmm. And prior to that, there's no training. You just go in and you fight, and you get in trouble, you don't. But just being able to put all that process together in the team, you know, it really helps structure you more in this controlled environment, knowing that when you go in there, and I think my father said it best, the one that adopted me, Bob Shamrock, said it best to me. He said that, you know, you know, sports is like life. You know, you got to understand what the rule sets are. You got to know what the boundaries are. And once you understand that, then you can go as hard as you want. And what I mean by that, to explain it, was like in football, for instance, you know, you can hit somebody. They give you a plastic helmet, they give plastic shoulder pads, and you can hit somebody as hard as you want. I mean, I call those weapons, right? Like you can just literally lay into somebody and jump up, and everybody's patting you on the back. But if you go and you hit somebody after the whistle, you're getting a penalty. Right. It's the same thing in life, right? You can go as hard as you want, do whatever you want, but you got to understand what those boundaries and those rules are. Once you do, you go as hard as you want to be successful.
Yeah, I think that really translates so much into so many different corners of life. And you've taken that and you've translated that into business. And you've gone hard in a lot of different areas. And I think it's a great way for us to transition into what you're doing now and what we're here to talk about. You have an event coming up with Valor, and you've taken technology, you've taken tradition and your love of bare knuckle boxing, and you've said, okay, we're going to make this something truly unique, special, immersive, and interactive. But we talked a little bit about it on the show, but why is this purity of sport so special and important to you to protect?
Well, I think it goes back to, the original days when I first started, it was bare knuckle. I mean, there was no rules, no time limit. You walked into this cage and one guy walks out at the end, and it's just like and there was no judges either. Like literally whoever was the last one standing.
Right. And
you'd fight 4 times in one night. And I remember going in and doing that after I came back from Japan. I started doing that. And I remember thinking to myself, man, this is pure. Like, I mean, this is literally the best guy is going to win. There's nobody going to raise your hand because 4 other judges decided you were the winner. This is literally you two going in there and only one of you's walking out. And I just like, wow, this is special. Well, then, of course, politics gets involved, and, they start selling you something that they've sold for 100 years now about, protecting the fighters and making it safe and sanctioning it so they can show it on TV. And what I mean by that is putting a glove on someone. And literally UFC came in and said, listen, we're going to make this safer. We're going to, organize it and control it. And we're going to put a glove, a 4-ounce glove on you. And I said, oh, cool. Like, I get it. I'm trying to make it safer. But 6 months in, I'm going, oh, jeez, this is more dangerous. They literally put a 4-ounce glove on you, tape your hands, and now you can hit me in the head as many times as you want and not break your hand. And so I said to myself, I got a chance to change that, which I do now, to be able to bring it back to its purest form. Back in the beginning days, 100 years ago, when 2 guys stood in front of one another and said, we're going to fight, and they didn't go back into the locker room and have to put a glove on to come back out and fight again. They just took it and they just went. And so bringing it back to that purest form, Valor Bare Knuckle, we're doing our 2nd event. It is true bare knuckle. There are no cages. There are no ropes, because that also cheats. You're literally letting a guy back up into a rope or a cage and rest and not have to fight. And so we took that out because we want action. We want fights. So this vision I've been putting together for quite some time. Got a great business team around me to be able to help bring it where we want it to go. But I'm telling you, it's exciting, man. And you get a chance, come on down October 27th at the UNF Arena, and we're going to have some fun. Check it out.
I think it'll be a lot of fun. And like you said, you can actually see the arena here. I want to talk about the name, because you talk about honor, you talk about integrity of the sport. The word valor is not something we hear a lot. So it sounds like you took it pretty seriously when you decided to brand this with that singular noun.
Yeah, it is. And, I was in the system, as I talked about a little bit earlier. And if it wasn't for, that, the men and women in blue who go out there every single day and they protect people. And like myself, I was able to be put into a situation where I was able to find sports to help vent my anger into something positive. And to me, that means a lot to me. So being able to, kind of move in that direction and be a part of something bigger than just the fight itself, being able to help others follow dreams and be able to achieve and feel what I felt.
What do you want to say to other people who are gaining that opportunity? Because I'll be real honest, Ken, there's plenty of former athletes out there who don't take the time to pour in, to give back to others. And it sounds like to me, like I said, like I've seen these pictures of you, I've, seen these videos of you, but then I also see you cuddling 2 kittens in my TV studio because you thought it would help. So the love that I see in you is something really special and makes me very proud to know you now. What do you want to tell other people when they are struggling, when they have a weakness? You wake up and you say, getting my butt handed to me was never an option. How can we translate that, even if we're not stepping into the Valor ring? How can we translate that into our lives every day?
Well, I think it's important. You've got to look yourself in the mirror and believe in yourself, no matter what it is. I mean, I have a saying, and it's cliche, but it's very simple, and I think it fits in everyone's lifestyle. You get up more times than you get knocked down, because every time that you get up, you learn from how you got knocked down and you be better. The worst thing is just criticism and people putting you down or you're putting yourself down, man, you just got to go past that, because there's a lot of opportunity out there in the world, and you just have to go out and get it. You've got to believe in yourself. And I think that is the biggest message I can say to anyone is look yourself in the mirror and love yourself and believe in yourself, because every single one has an opportunity in this world. You just have to go get it.
Oh, well, I think we're just going to sprint out of here and run through any wall that comes up. Ken, thank you so, so much for sharing with us today on River City Plus. How's the best way to stay connected with you?
Yeah, you can go to valorbk.com. And also you can purchase your tickets for the fight coming up October 27 at the UNF. Check it out, man. I'll be there. I'll see you there.
We will see you there. Wouldn't miss it. Catch us tomorrow on River City Plus. Right there. River City Plus. See you tomorrow.